Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm here with Amber today, and I wanted to do this quick video before I put my Travelogue entry in the mail. I'm the Nanny B11, and I am a member of Your Paper Pantry, and I joined the Travelogues for this year. And my next entry is for Sharon, who is a New Jersey garden girl. This is her travelogue. It's a very beautiful book, and her theme is the family table, and she wanted us to do our entry based on the theme of memories, special memories of ours, based on our family, just being around our family table, and that sort of thing. And I have wonderful memories of family meals and holidays, and I have a twin sister, so we're very close, and we do have wonderful memories. But I chose a specific memory that I wanted to share with Sharon, someone very, very dear to my heart, and that is my mother-in-law. Her name was Margaret Victoria Royal, and you're right, that's some name, but she lived up to that name. She was a little lady who came from England, and she came to America kind of in a special way, and came through Ellis Island, as so many of our families did. So I wanted to showcase a special memory that I have of her coming to our home here in Philadelphia and spending about a month with us, and it was a wonderful time. So anyway, these are my pages, and they're two-page spread, and this beautiful lady here is Margaret Victoria Royal, my husband's mother, who passed away many years ago. Well, actually, my daughter was about 16 when she passed away. But this is her graduation from nursing school photograph. And when she came to visit us, we would have afternoon tea together, which I grew to love, and I try to do it still to this day. Not as elaborate, and I don't have the wonderful company, but anyway.
How about me?
And Amber just reminded me that she has tea with me. So yes, Amber, you do have tea with Nanny, and you're my favorite tea companion. So anyway, this is her actual a copy of her graduation photograph, and I have some vintage elements. This is a die cut from my favorite things. It's the Victorian doily, and then these stamps. I stamped these on chipboard, and these are from Oxford Impressions. I think it's called Time for Tea, and there's a vintage definition of tea, and I tucked those in afternoon tea, and some stamped. These are stamped buttons, and these laces this is a gorgeous piece of vintage lace from my mother's collection that she sent me from her studio, and a little bit of bling. And then this is the other page that I did, and this is another stamped element, and it says, there are few hours in life more agreeable than the hours dedicated to the ceremony known as afternoon tea. And this is a beautiful image from the same stamp collection by Oxford Impressions of a Victorian lady enjoying a cup of tea. And my mother-in-law was born during the Victorian era, so and she lived into her 90s. So and these are her initials, MVR, for Margaret Victoria Royal. And there's a little envelope here. I believe this is a Maya Road envelope that I distressed and sprayed with Lindy Stamp Gang. And I have the little envelope, and then in the envelope, I've put my story, and I'll just read briefly if I can get it on the video. It says, Tea with Margaret. Some of my most treasured memories are the hours spent with Margaret Victoria Royal. She was my mother-in-law. In truth, she was so much more than that. She was my friend, my confidant, my muse, and my grandmother figure. I had lost both of my own grandmothers at a very young age, and she was simply perfect. Margaret Victoria Royal had come to America as a very young girl after a fire had claimed her parents. One older brother had survived and been placed with a relative. Maggie, as she was called, had been asleep in her bassinet. During the fire, it fell 3 floors into the basement, where she was found still sleeping. An uncle who was caring for her decided she would have a better life in America. He made arrangements for her to live with a distant relative in Connecticut. She was placed on a ship all by herself, and I believe she was about 17 or 18 when he finally sent her to America, and it was bound for New York City. Her adventures began when she arrived at Ellis Island. She grew into a confident, lovely woman, became a nurse, and raised a family of 3 sons. She was an artist, a writer, and a lover of hats. Shortly after my husband and I moved to the Philadelphia area, Margaret decided to come for a visit. She traveled by train to her favorite mode of transportation. She was in her 80s. I have a vision of her at the train station with her lovely trench coat and straw hat, which I have to this day. Each day, she and I would take afternoon tea on our front porch. We have an old Victorian home, and the porch is a lovely place to spend a few hours over tea. Those hours were a revelation to me. We talked about family, love, childhood memories, and she was a vital source of advice for me. On Sundays, she would rise early and put a chicken dinner in the oven for us. We would sit on the porch with our tea, and we would smell her amazing chicken dinner through the large front windows. Margaret Victoria told me of a plan she had to do a special book for my daughter, Summer. I had given her a lovely copy of A Country Diary of a Victorian Lady. It was a day planner. The following Christmas, she presented Summer with that day planner. During that entire year, in the space for each day throughout the year, Margaret had done an entry for Summer. She would write poems, do tiny sketches, and impart advice to her. This book remains a family treasure, and it was conceived on our front porch over tea. Margaret left me her books and her most precious collection of English teacups. Each time I enjoy tea from one of her cups, I unfold a memory of her and our times together on our front porch. And then I put a little image of an afternoon tea, and then it's folded up. And then what I did was I copied a couple of vintage pictures of a Victorian, a lady with a hat on, and then some beautiful images of ladies with hats, and I tucked it, it's going to tuck in the envelope. And then Sharon asked us to do a tag, and she asked us to do our own tag, a version of a tag, and I chose the tag that she had put a little stamp of a coffee cup or a teacup. So this is my tag, and it says, tea is suggestive of 1,000 wants from which spring the decency of and luxuries of life. And then on the back I will put my information and the date it arrived and the date that it departed. So that's my entry for Sharon. I hope you enjoy it, Sharon. I love doing this entry. It was a wonderful journey for me. And a wonderful remembrance of my beloved mother-in-law, who I've missed terribly. So it will be put in the mail tomorrow, wrapped with a lot of love, and sent on to, I believe it's going to Regina. So I hope you enjoyed this, everyone. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye. Percy says bye, too.
Did I go over 10 minutes?
Little Percy kitty. Bye. No, you didn't.